I was just about to put this video out the other day, and then I thought that I had 3 or 4 hours or whatever it was and the video would be out, and then it seemed that the Chris Watts interview was released. So I didn't put this video out because this is about some text that Shanann made. And when you see these, this was all happening a week or two before, well, about a week before he killed her. And in it, Shanann is saying she's had enough and she's going to leave. So he is lying to those officers about the fact that, well, basically it was, she told me that I wouldn't be able to see the children, and then Graham goes, well, that's not nice, is it, sort of thing. And he's making it sound like he's a shock and that, you know, he overreacted because this is what she said, but it doesn't fall in with the children, does it? But he lied because he did know, because this is what they've been talking about. He's lying. He's so lying. Just wanted to say that I was adding some of her text messages in the last week leading up, and you can see that it's all happening. You can see it. Now you know the outcome. You can see that it's ramping up to this ending. I'm sure when Shanann was texting, she didn't actually think it was going to be her ending. I think basically that she'd had enough and she was pregnant, and there was such a lack coming from him that she wanted it over. I'm making a video which doesn't have anything to do with the drive for a change. Going through some of these messages that Shanann was sending end of July, early August. Reading her messages, when she went off to her parents, she didn't think anything was wrong. She didn't notice anything. It was only during the weeks she was away. And then she picks him up and she notices he's completely changed. And she spends these days trying, coaxing, talking. And then in a very short period of time, like maybe a week or two, she starts actually saying other stuff. She starts saying, I'm not living a lie. I'm not staying here. It's too expensive. It's too expensive to live here. She was looking at maybe an apartment. She actually mentions there that maybe it's because of a girl. That's the only reason that she could think that things had changed. But when you look at it, she's saying, I'm hormonal. She needed to be talked to. You know, everything's all right. You look great. You know, give her a little bit of support and help. I don't think she felt that Chris was giving her anything. And she noticed in that week they spent together at her parents', he just wasn't interested in anything. He obviously didn't feel the bump in her stomach. He didn't really ask about the baby. He just didn't ask about anything or connect much with her or the pregnancy. Probably just was hovering around the children and getting all grumpy. Whatever was happening before she went away, because we don't know, do we? But how long things were really going on. But it all in this seemed to happen in those, away for 6 weeks, wasn't she? So 5 weeks, the 5 weeks she was away. It all happened in those weeks that she was away, just those few weeks. Everything changed. And you can see her getting more and more upset. So about the 5th of August, so everything happened on the 11th, she's telling him, if things don't change, that's it, it's over. I'm not living a lie. I'm not living this. You don't seem to this, you don't seem to that. Although he said in request, she asked him, what are we together for? Because we love each other. That's what he said, and that's all he said. But she's saying, you know, he's not talking to me. He's working out. He's deleting things. But then you can see her ramping it up a little bit. You can. I've seen a lot of these texts on the internet, and I'm just going to play a few of them. Looking at this, Shanann was getting more and more upset, but we're actually only talking of a few weeks here. And then when she went to pick him up, she noticed he'd changed. there were times where she's trying to talk to him and they're alone. He's not engaging. He doesn't seem to. It's just everything's changed. He's more ratty. Just the whole thing. And she's trying to talk to him. She's trying all these things. It seems that the first week of August, she starts ramping it up. Like, that's it. It'll be over. She'll have to go and find somewhere else and live. She's not living a lie. And she does mention there, can he be like this? If there's another, she puts it as another girl rather than he's having an affair. But it's because obviously she knows, well, this can only change. But he's sort of saying, she talks about his life, his different life on his own and stuff. But I think that this was quite a tense time a few weeks before he killed her. With the things that she's saying, maybe he thought they were over. Or maybe, because we play games. If you do that again, I'm going to leave you. If you do that again, I'm going to do this. And the thing is that they do it and you stay and it goes on, but you keep threatening and people threaten each other. In the end, you might go for a divorce, but it takes a while and you spend a few years threatening each other all the time. So maybe he just thought they were threats, but I think she meant it. I mean, whether she would have carried through with it long term, I don't know, because we didn't get that far, did we? Because she was murdered. But it looks like she will be looking for places and all sorts of things. It already started. So in a sense, she's giving him this ultimatum, or it's over. So she must have gone home that night going, that's it, it's a woman. Part of that had to be brought into it. She knew in her heart that it was happening, but I couldn't say. He probably didn't say, but she knew. And he knew she knew. That's obviously when things went drastically wrong after that, because she obviously did say that she was leaving. That's what I think she said to him before he killed her. And I tried to say before that he was a fantasist. So he wanted the girlfriend and he wanted the wife. Unfortunately, everybody's pressuring him. And I really don't think that the argument with his mum helped either. I think there's a lot of pressure there. He was into doing other things now because he's having an affair. And he wasn't interested in, not another problem. I actually wondered whether he told his dad when he went back that time. Well, when he was interviewed with Tammy and Graham, he didn't tell the truth. He didn't tell the truth. These texts show you he already knew Shanann was going to leave. She was telling her friends, she was telling him she was going to sort her life out. I think even her mum said on the Dr. Phil that she would have moved on without him. Yeah, so, this whole thing where she told me and I straddled her and all that, it's just rubbish. He lied. He already knew. She already said. So you got this pressure from the mum and the horrible argument, which really didn't help things. And then, in these texts, she's saying, I'm fat, I'm more hormonal, she wants to be cuddled, she wants to be loved. I think she sees sex as love in this, because without that, they don't have anything. Both of them. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people think that sex is love. And then you can see why he, with his girlfriend, believes the same thing, that he's found love. When he hadn't, he just found sex. Yeah, lust and sex, and doing sexual things that he wanted to do. But it wasn't love. Like, love is much more than sex. It's a part of love, but it's the icing on the cake. Anyway, she's saying there in those texts that Chris doesn't talk to me anymore. I really think that she, and maybe he sort of thought that they were talking, leaving each other. They were. And please, couples say and do these things, but it doesn't mean they happen, or that people get killed. It's a game of, well, don't you love me? Don't you want me? he doesn't want me. You know, and you might break up for a few weeks and then get back together. Some couples work it out. But you can see her saying these things. You can see her saying, I'm not putting up with this, I don't want this. So if she's saying this in text, if you listen to her, she's been talking to him and texting him. She would have said all this to him. So for a few weeks from her, he would have got, I'm leaving, I don't want this. And the thing is that in it, she's saying he doesn't want the baby, so he lied about that. And then it makes her think, well, is this the right place to bring a baby in? I mean, because she's now put in a situation, because now she thinks, well, we're splitting up and I'm pregnant, not good. But you can see her ramping it up. It was obviously quite bad for a week or two before that. It wasn't just an emotional talk. There were loads and loads of emotional talks. Most of the time, Chris Watts is silent, doesn't say anything, and Shanann is saying, crying, leaving, putting the house on the market. And instead of him being a man, cuddling her, talking to her, anything, because we know what he's been doing, it's just getting worse and worse. So the communication, there you go. There, she's asked the question, why are you married to me? And he says, because we love each other. That's all he said. But this is the first week of August, end of July, first week of August. I really think that she was pressuring for all these things. I think maybe she'd made her mind up when she talked to him. It sounds like she was sort of there in her mind. Not that she wanted this, just that she was preparing. And then that night, she'd obviously she was going to go. That's what was going to happen. But in these texts, it looks like she was sorting something else out, or would be sorting something else out. Must have just lost it. She was saying, I'm going, I'm leaving, I'm taking the children, I'm moving away. And, suddenly, if you're a fantasist and reality hits you, because, like I've tried to say before, okay, he was the quieter one, but bullies can be quiet, They just do and say the little words. They don't have to be loud and shouting to be a bully. As he's a narcissist anyway. And he maybe thought that he was in control of everything. And what have I put? You don't bite the tail of Prince Rupert's drop. Is like a narcissist, and it's a glass. This is called a Prince Rupert droplet. It's glass. And what it is we've had a hangout with Permission to Exist, which is a channel, and she talks a lot about narcissism. Well, that's actually the subject she talks about. And what she says is that a narcissist can be referred to as one of these, because this thing can take a bullet to the glass head, but if you go to the tail and snap its tail, or just clink it just a tiny bit, the whole thing shatters into a million pieces. And even if there are other things wrong with him, so he took it, didn't he? He was quiet, he took a lot of pressure, he didn't get upset, he didn't get angry. So whatever happened that night, she clipped his tail. Or I do think a lot of it was he was angry with himself and hadn't even worked all that out, because he was so immature on his feelings that he hadn't worked all that out, or the fact that anybody else had feelings, his children, his wife. Only his feelings were the most important thing, but she obviously clinked that tail somehow, or something happened in that argument to clink his tail, unless he'd planned the whole thing. But I still think this happened. But I still think he got her when she was asleep. But maybe this had happened. She'd clinked his tail, and then... So I think that, she was going to go, and then, it flipped, because everything he thought that he could get rid of, he was being got rid of. She was actually getting rid of him. And he flipped. Because then there is the children and everything. Don't understand the children bit though. I really, really don't understand why he killed the children. I can see how things can have gone wrong and that accidentally or on purpose, whichever way round you want it, Shanann. But the children, that bit I just can't get. But you can see from this text that she was ready to finish it herself, I think. Things didn't happen the way he said in February.